Whomever was around you as children played a massive role in making you the person you are today. And I'm going to now talk about some things that will bring that to your attention. To start with, I said here, for some of us, right, life is all about challenges, and without challenges, there is no life. So at all times, we will be struggling with one thing or the other, either deadlines in school or housing or relationships or jobs. There's always somewhat of a struggle that will come and go. It's not about struggles in life. I can tell you this right now, been there, done it. It will never stop. So long as you're alive, it'll keep coming at you. The trick is to dance with life, or to learn to deal with these challenges peacefully, at least to the best of your ability, so you can move on. Because every time you struggle with one challenge and you think, oh my goodness, this and that, and how am I going to deal with it? And this is so hard and it's such a big deal, and you overcome it, I promise you, something else will come at you. It will never stop. It will never stop. The day you die, your email will be full. There'll be issues to solve. There'll be people waiting on you. There'll be deadlines. It will never stop. So it's not about the things that will come at you in life and about how to achieve things. It's about how to do it joyfully. It's about how to achieve those things in a happy, peaceful way. Yeah? Okay, so from here, I'm going to move on. Can you guess from looking at them, what am I going to talk about? Is what? Sleep, yes, definitely. Sleep. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Without it, we go bananas. Sleep, what else? Exercise, yeah. Communication, yeah. Socializing, communication, yeah. What else? Love, relationships, thank you. It looks like a list because of the university, right? Health and nutrition. It looks like a list, yeah, because of the university. It's a good one, Liana. What else? Peace of mind. Peace of mind, yeah. Mindfulness, right? Yeah, definitely. Peace of mind, thank you. Sorry, what? Spirituality, yes. Under mindfulness, yes. Goals, achieve, exactly, goals, your purpose in life. Maybe it's your work, maybe it's something you're doing for others, service for others. What else? We covered them all? There's one. One. Yeah, yes, thank you very much. Good one, intellectual stimulation, and that comes with, yeah, that symbol that shows, yeah, that comes with learning, right? That comes with learning new topics or new languages or traveling. That comes with understanding other cultures and learning, right? Okay, let me start with the first one. Now, as I talk about them, I want you to know that you see that barcode here. If you scan it, you have a handout. You have a booklet about every single pillar. It's a 35-page booklet, and in detail, everything you will find in there about every single pillar. Okay? I won't be talking about what's in the handout. I'm talking something else, but at least all the details you need to know about every single pillar is in there. It will tell you why it's healthy to exercise. It will tell you how to make it easy to start exercising. 10 very short little tips. How can I integrate movement into my life? It will suggest kinds of movement into your life and so on. So I'm not going to talk about that. I will be just talking freely about those pillars. Okay? So starting with exercise and movement, we are all born active. We are all, as children, born very active beings. The minute that you started crawling and walking, You never sat again, I am sure. So you can ask your parents and try to remember. The minute we move, and we want to move. We want to move, we want to grab things, we want to explore things, we want to climb, we want to go to different corners, we just want to move. Our nature is movement. Now in our society, from the beginning when we start moving, we go to school, right? Preschool or kindergarten, and then we go into school settings. We are in groups, in a classroom. There is gym, but it's an assigned time of the week and of the day. Now let me ask you a question. Are you a person who likes to exercise in the morning or the evening or the night? Evening, night. Are you a person who's productive in the morning or the evening or night? Night. Does one size fit all? So when we tell children that gym time is, or physical ed is on Wednesday from 11 to 12, it's like assuming that the shoe size of all children in grade 7 is the same, right? It's not one size fits all. Why I'm mentioning this, guys, is because, again, everything I talk about today, I want to talk about your past, your current place, and your future. You start with understanding where you are and why you think about certain things a certain way. If you look back into your childhood, again, on that piece of paper, can you just jot very quickly from 0 to 10, how positive is your feeling about movement? 0 to 10. Say 0 is like nada, and 10, wow, I love movement. I want your childhood, not now. I'm gonna right after that ask you about now. But please just try as much as you can, your childhood.
From what ages?
Let's say from the time you were a little toddler until you were, 15, 13. Were you seen as a hyper child? Were you asked to calm down? Did you actually not move at all and stop yourself from moving? Were you the kind of child who sat in a classroom fiddling with the thing we did with our chairs, this thing? That we got yelled at a lot? I don't know if you guys did. Did you fiddle with pens? Do you still do it? Yeah, I saw a few of you doing that already. I saw it. Yeah? So you have it down? So it should be something, if you just give it a number and you can say, I don't feel good about what I learned as a child about movement. And then can you please next to it write where you are now? How do you feel about movement today? So a little arrow, how do I feel about movement today? And when we talk movement, it doesn't have to be that you go to the gym. It can be that you go running, you go walking, you dance in your kitchen, you move about. You go swimming, you play tennis, you play badminton, you move. You're not constantly, if you look at every day, your average time sitting down is not 8 hours a day, 6 hours a day. Gaming or studying or in a hall or in the bus. And are the activities you're choosing requiring you to sit again in a theater? So that's, again, just bringing your awareness to where you are right now. If it is something you want to improve and you think, I really want to improve movement, put an arrow with a circle next to it. That's your question mark of how am I going to improve it. So put it on your paper, next arrow, circle, question mark. How am I going to improve that? Because by the time I finish my talk and you download that booklet, you should be able to put that together. How do I move further with movement? I'm going to mention a few things from the booklet for you, but you will have it about what movement does to you. Just a few. It's not just about losing weight or physical well-being. It's about mental focus. It's about happiness. I'm a person who needs to regularly exercise. If I don't exercise for a full week, immediately my mood drops. People ask me, how come you're always happy? I'm not always happy. Trust me, I am not. Happiness is a skill. To wake up every morning and decide and choose to be happy is a super skill. Super skill, because by the time you are 20, 25, you have enough reason in your life to be depressed or stressed for the rest of your life if you want to. It's a choice you make. It's really a choice you make. So as far as I'm concerned, I need to work out every week because it improves my mood. That's what exercise does. It maintains a healthy mood as well and energy throughout the day. It helps you release stress. If you're stressed and worried about whatever it is, something with your parents, if one of your parents is sick, if you've had a breakup, if you had an exam, it really helps you release that stress. It boosts your confidence. You will feel better. It regulates your temperature. You won't be as cold as you can be in Holland. People who exercise more, like Dewi, can sweat in the middle of winter outside. So it has a lot of benefits. Do you have any questions about that one? Can I move on? Yes? Let's move to the next one. Socializing. Okay, that's the one where someone said communication, right? Socializing. I want to talk about socializing. Again, it has multiple benefits for you, but you will find them in the booklet. Just to mention a few. Socializing reduces stress. Socializing makes you less isolated. Socializing helps you communicate better and understand each other better. So communication. When we divide communication and you look at yourself as someone who wants to communicate better with someone else, and I'm just going to use an example. I'll make up something right now, okay? Say, I don't know, what's your name? I'm sorry. Evelina entered the room and she walked in and sat down and just looked like she was angry to me. Maybe you're not angry at all. And she just walked in and didn't even smile and sat down. First thing that happens with socializing and communication is I will perceive what she did. She walked in and the perception is via eyes or hearing, or I look at her and she looks grumpy to me. I am listening, she didn't say hello or anything. I immediately, after I perceive the way she walked up the stairs and I'm making it up, just sat down, it looks angry to me. So then this perception, which is step number 1, moves on to step number 2. Step number 2 is the brain is gonna fire thoughts at me. It's going to tell me, oh my gosh, she's so angry or unhappy. Either she has something against me, she doesn't want to be here, she's being forced to be here. Did I do anything to hurt this girl? Why is she giving me this attitude? These kind of thoughts that the brain fires, what are they going to do? They're going to affect my mood. Thank you. Well done. That's number 3. 3 is, I am going to feel something based on that thought. Because every single thought that you think will match an emotion. You will create a feeling. It's impossible for you to be thinking something horrifically sad and be feeling happy. And the other way is true. You can't be thinking about something hilarious and be really sad. So if my brain starts firing all this internal dialogue of nonsense that she's grumpy and this and that, I start feeling bothered, I get moody, I'm upset, I'm thinking, what is this? And if we take it one more step to step number 4, I might take action and walk over and say, hey, why are you doing that? Just say hello when you enter, that's so rude. All examples, right? So you see this? Now I can change it around. She could walk in and not smile and not say hello and sit down. I could then choose different thoughts, completely different thoughts. I choose to think, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry for this lady. She's tired. She had so many classes today. It's stormy outside. How awesome of her to come and attend today with her, your time on a Friday evening. You could be anywhere and you choose to be here. I'm really so honored and so pleased that she's here. I mean, how cool is that? How would that make me feel? Happier and good and positive. And then I might go over and say, thank you for being here. Do you see how I choose how to proceed? I chose the whole thing. You see that communication? Now, this is so important because when you are socializing with people, you learn this over time. And when you are, this is also in relationships, right? I can actually double check. I can go to a friend of mine and say, hi, how you doing? We're talking. And he might say something really offensive to me. And I then can say, I'm sorry, I understood you said this and that. Am I right? Do you mean this or not? And he can say, no, I didn't mean that badly at all. I'm sorry, I was just... And it stops right there. I don't have to feel bad. I don't have to take action. I don't have to sink into the drama. This is socializing. This is learning how to communicate with each other. This is trying to understand each other. Yeah? So this is one of those examples under socializing. Also learning to listen to other people, not just wait till they're finished talking so you can say something. Listen. Okay, we move to the next one.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please, Liana.
So I think, if I think about myself, you have that reaction, you see someone come in that feels grumpy.
Yeah.
And our brain just automatically kind of in light speed has already done all those things.
Yes.
So how do you change the narrative? Is it just practicing, or how do you stop that
It is.
old pattern that
I love the
has that
question.
decision already?
Yes, I absolutely love the question. You see, did you hear it? How do you stop the brain from constantly throwing this nonsense? You see, your brain, it's like an ocean. There's like this ship, right? That's what I said to you yesterday. It's like there's a ship in your brain. There's no captain on there. You are the captain. You are the captain on that ship. You need to sail it. The brain is like this little puppy without a leash. It's so easy to trick it into feeling good. It's so easy to train it to stop talking this nonsense. It's so easy to do. Easy as 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to give you an example now really quickly about it. If your brain keeps firing at you negative thoughts, you can do things that are so simple, right? And like I said, like training a puppy. You know this flick thing? Oh, it hurts. Do you see what I did? Flicking myself. This bit. It creates a little bit of ouch. I've actually tried this technique. There are many techniques that you can find when you Google, how can I stop myself from this constant negative dialogue in my mind? Some of them are positive affirmations, but this one works like magic. Because I've tried many of them, and this is my top favorite. Every single time during the day, when I catch my brain saying something that is total nonsense, and you know when it's total nonsense because it's going to make you feel bad, and you're thinking, come on, seriously, nothing happened. I don't have to worry about it. You do this. 1. In an hour, I got 2. In 3 hours, I have 4. By noon, I have 20. Now I know where I stand. That is not okay. That is not okay. And then the next day, you set yourself to, my goal today is to have that number. Every time a thought like that is going to enter my mind, I am either going to check with the other person and say, sorry, did I interpret you right? Can you let me know? Or I am internally going to choose a better thought, because it is your responsibility to choose your thoughts. Choose your thoughts like you choose your clothes every morning. It's that important. Every thought is going to create a feeling. And if you're going to let that puppy go around like crazy in your head, what are you doing to yourself? Right? So you choose your thoughts like you choose your clothes in the morning. And when you don't like the thought, do this. or find another way. Maybe just, squeeze your hand and count how many times you've done it. And the next day, again, plan and aim. There'll be days that won't be so good, but at least you made a goal and you have an action and you're gonna follow through and check what that dialogue sounds like. Now, I do have to tell you that dialogue, when I go to one of the other pillars, that internal dialogue, I'm sorry to say, or sadly, it also comes from your childhood. Because your childhood is your program. See it as a computer that's programmed. By the time you became an adult, you have a program. Your parents and your childhood formed you and created these dialogues and way of talking to yourself. Yeah? The more negative you talk to yourself means you, as a child, were criticized a lot. Children who get criticized constantly or a lot never end up hating their parents and the teachers in that moment. Later on, when they grow up, they might, but as children, they don't. When they are criticized, no matter how badly you got criticized as a child, you never will hate the adult. You will actually start hating yourself. This is what criticism does to children. Yes? Education, and I'm going to talk also a little bit about it. Education is learning. This is the one that we said, yeah, that's it. Education and learning. So you can always learn new things. You can learn new things. You can, what did you just do now? You just learned something new, right? And hopefully it can spark you into wanting to learn more new things in life. So you can, and I don't just mean, guys, I don't only mean university and schooling. If you have a pillar in your life where in your agenda you plan that one day a week you're going to dedicate to learning something new. It can be anything. It can be take the tram and go to another city and discover that area. It can be going to a museum and learning about that art. It can be buying some plants and learning how to work with plants. It can be what we just said now. What happens to me if my childhood was so and so? How does psychology work? How did that affect me? And how did that make me become who I am today? And how can I reverse that? It can be anything. So this is about learning, and there are many, many, many benefits of learning. Again, I will go to that chapter here. This is also in your booklet, but I'm not going to read all of them because you have all of them. Can you tell me a few things that you think are beneficial about learning? Yep, that's a very good one. Anything else? Yes, fantastic. Especially when you're learning new languages, and it's fantastic. What else? Curiosity. Fantastic. It also creates you really become happier because you start to learn more. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is real power. And the more you know, the more you find out you don't know. Every time you go into a topic and you start learning about whatever, last year, I got into stars and galaxies, and it's just amazing. And the more you find out, you don't know much, and on it goes. What else? Give me more benefits. One more.
Fulfillment with yourself. Feel more proud.
Yes. That's so beautiful, and it ties to what we just said before. Fulfillment with yourself, because when you teach yourself a new skill, say you want to really learn something new, whether it's a language or whatever, it could be a sport, because then you tie it into exercise, so 2 in 1, and you set a goal and you achieve it. How does that make you feel? Good. You feel like you're capable. It's good for our self-esteem. It makes us feel good. Again, if you're going to treat yourself, you're going to parent yourself, you start to like yourself. This is great. I set these goals and I did them. I attended this class and I have these pillars in my agenda and I have these colors popping everywhere. And of course, I might fall off the wagon sometimes, but that's fine. I am fantastic. I'm doing the best that I can. Everyone falls off, but I am going to get focused again, and I am going to pay attention that I don't go a whole month without ever paying attention to one of these. So It's dialogue. It's really good. You start by liking yourself. You move to loving yourself. You parent yourself in ways that our parents or caregivers or teachers in the past didn't. So you make yourself who you are today. Yeah? It sparks creativity as well. We mentioned that. Empathy. You start to sympathize and empathize with yourself. You understand cultures better if you start learning about cultures. Learning is in so many ways. You start to see that no one is right or wrong. We're all just different. And if you listen to everybody, everyone makes a point. And then you see their side and their side and their side. It's amazing. Knowledge is power. Yeah? Okay. Moving on to the next one. I'm checking the time. We are at meditation and mindfulness. One of my favorite pillars. What do you know about meditation and mindfulness? Yeah? Being present. What's that like, being present? Yes. That's right. And why would that be beneficial? Yes, exactly. Do you hear that? That's beautiful. Because when you're present in the moment, what's so good about it is that you stop worrying about the past and dwelling on it. You start stressing about the future. And in this moment, there is absolutely nothing wrong. Let me ask you right now, in this moment, just this moment, is there anything wrong? In this moment, there's nothing wrong. Nothing. But I can choose to think about yesterday and feel bad about what happened. I can also choose to think about tomorrow and the amount of work I have to do. Right? I've lived many catastrophes in my life. Most of them never happened. Never happened. Never. But I've lived them. If you do have something that's bothering you, it's really important to ask yourself, this is part of mindfulness, right? There's this internal dialogue, then you stop yourself. Okay, Robbie, stop. It's constantly coming at me. What's bothering you? What's bothering you? What is constantly coming at me? And what is bothering you? No worries. What is bothering me? And then I can listen to myself. You all have internal dialogues, right? You know what I'm talking about. Do you know how sometimes you start stressing or worrying about something? Yeah, okay. So that stressing and worrying, you can make it louder. That stressing and worrying that you have inside yourself, you can stop and ask yourself, I want to know what is bothering me. Why did my mood just suddenly drop? Just immediately. Oh, my mood just suddenly dropped because this person entered and they were frowning. Okay, yeah, drop that thought. She probably had a bad day. Okay, I'm good. Move on. Done. But very often we don't do that. It builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and I bump here, and this guy is mean, and this guy is late, and she told me I'm late, and my work is not fine. I forgot to pick up this, I didn't do, and it builds up, right? Plus all the stress that you're stressed about from before. And that just keeps piling up. If you stop and listen to your internal dialogue, do it as often as you can. And if it is something that is big, that you want to think, something that's bothering you, maybe you can actually jot it right now on this one. Something that's really bugging you guys. Something that's sitting on your chest. Write it right now down so you know what it is. It's been eating at you. Because guess what? It's going to go under this pillar, and you're going to sit soon and look at it and see how you can fix it or leave it. Do you have it down? So now this thing that you wrote there falls under mindfulness, okay? So now you're going to start to listen to yourself. And we're going to dedicate, if possible, every week, half an hour or an hour to you. You, yourself, and you. Me, myself, and I. To listen to what's bugging me and to check if it's something that I can fix. Maybe it is, am I doing the right thing? Do I love what I'm doing right now? Is this the job I want to be in forever? Is this what I want to do? Is it working for me? Maybe it's that. And if it is, I have myself a good half hour, an hour to think about it, Google stuff, meditate on it, cry about it, whatever, and see if I can change it. Because if I really hate it, I can take a look. Is there other options? What do I want to do? What do I want to study? And so on. But if it's something not fixable, and there are some things that are not fixable, right? What I can do is release that pain by crying, and I will get to that, and then move on. You leave it. If you can fix it, you fix it. If you can't, you leave it. Anything in between is temporary insanity. You will drive yourself crazy if you stay in a round and round loop and you don't fix it or leave it. So assign a time in your agenda to see if you can fix what's bugging you or leave it. Now you've wrote it down. I've seen all of you write down what's bugging you. Take a look at it and see if you can fix it or leave it. Yeah? I'm going to talk, yes.
I have a question, not about this, but more about being present.
Yeah.
Any sort of tips on how you become more present?
Yes.
Like, so that you don't necessarily go into this either overthinking the past or overthinking the future.
Yes.
Practical, maybe how we can practice.
Yes.
Tips.
It's beautiful. It's such a good question, because if you don't live the present, the problem is like this moment becomes the past very soon. In a few hours, I'll have the memory of being here. If I'm not present here, do you see what I mean? You have to be present to create the past. And if you're present and really loving the moment, the past becomes these beautiful memories of things that have happened, rather than the past being, oh, I was so stressed at that lecture and I was so worried and I was, do you know what I mean? But rather I choose to be present so that the memory is good. And the tips for that start with things, again, that are so simple, because the brain, like I said, is like a puppy and you can trick it. So you constantly want to train it to be present. To be present, to be in the moment, is actually so fantastic, because usually it's really minimum stress and worries, because there's nothing wrong at this moment. So you need to tune your perception to things that are positives in your surrounding. What I do and how I did it, because when I talk about, I mean, like I said, I look like I'm a really happy person. I have figured it all out, and I do live I really am living the dream. I really am not lying when I'm saying that. I love everything about my life, but guess what? I come from a horrific childhood. Like, I've lived things I don't even ever want to visit again, but I've turned them around and used them now to help other people. It's a choice I make. So one of these things, back to this question, how do you do that, is basically a little book that I had. You can use it in your notes on your phone. And what I do is I used to scan my surroundings regularly and then note down things that I really like. So it's like I'm on a search for things I like right now. Yeah, so if I am, and it's practice. In the beginning, it was so hard. I'd grab my pen, I'm like, okay, it's time. And like, there's nothing, because my brain is so occupied in what my mom did and what happened to me at school and how it went with this person and that person and how worried I am about the next step and, you know, how am I gonna make money and which job am I gonna get, and on and on. Insanity. The brain is like a puppy that will drive you crazy if you don't tame it, love it, and put it on a leash, right? And so these categories allow you to do that, because when this kind of thought, when you have a worry, you put it in the right category and you know it's coming on Friday at 9 p.m. We're going to talk about it then. Do you see what I mean? Another worry comes in. Oh, work and jobs. Okay, goes into that category. I'm going to pay attention to that at that time. You have classrooms for everything that's happening to you. So what I wrote in my book, for example, I'm going to give you an example now. Say I want to write something about now, what is positive right now. It can be anything. You can start with, I'm not cold. It's storming outside and it's freezing and I've been cold all day. And right now, I'm not cold. That could be it. Then it could be, I love the lights. It feels like it's sunny. It could be, I really like this audience. You guys are asking such awesome questions and I really mean it. That will go in there. It could be, oh great, there's a break coming up right now and I can have a coffee. It could be, I'm so glad it's Friday, the weekend is coming up. It could be anything, yeah? And you build on it. One of the questions I got was about the fixing it and leaving it and how to deal with that. And I said, one of the things that are really important are release methods. And that is actually the second thing I was about to talk about now. These are things that you need to know in life. Like I said, well, life is a game and we need to know how to play it. We need to know how to balance these pillars to move forward in life. Sadly, no one taught us how to play life. It's like going into a game of Monopoly, I said, and you have no idea what the rules are and you just play along. You just throw the dice and you just go. We don't know how to play life. If we learn how to play life, it becomes joyful, exciting, we can move forward. You're actually in the game. You see it. You know how to move, you know what to do, you know how to do it. I really hope that this will help you very much because this is basically learning to play the game of life. These are pillars or colors. You put them in your digital agenda, you put them in your paper agenda, you make sure that there's time for every single one of them and you let them feed off each other. That's how you play it. Going back to that question that I had earlier, if there's something that's really bothering you, but it can't be fixed anymore, and you do have to leave it. How do you do that? You leave it by doing two things. One is the internal dialogue that keeps coming at you about it. You tell it, I choose to let that go now. It's finished. This thought doesn't suit me anymore. I'm done. It doesn't suit me. Thank you. Shh. I don't want to hear it. You literally talk to that puppy in your head. This thought does not suit me anymore. I don't want to hear it. Thank you for bringing it up. It's finished. It's the past. I choose to leave it behind. That's really important. Getting your mind to understand that we're going to stop this habit of dwelling on that thing that happened that we no longer want in our life and we've left behind because we can't fix it. Yeah? The other thing is releasing the pain of that thing that happened. Releasing the stress of that thing that happened. Just telling your brain not to keep bringing it up is not enough. You do need to release the pain. Often when I lecture about this topic and we have it specifically on its own, I use cups and I say your human being, your body, your avatar is like a cup and things happen over the weeks and the days and the months and the years that cause it to fill up. So it may be that you're really stressed and you had a lot of work for school. It may be that suddenly your dad got sick and you had to fly back home for that. It may be that your girlfriend and you broke up. It may be that that day, was terribly dark and traffic was horrible and it took you forever to come home. It fills up, it fills up, it fills up. Sometimes it fills up daily when we are really stressed. And sometimes it fills up weekly when we're so-so. And sometimes it fills up monthly when we are just joyful and happy most of the time or relaxed. When that cup is full, it needs to empty. Do you know how to empty it? How? Yeah, thank you. How else? Exercise, yes. Exercise definitely helps release stress. It definitely does, and I'll go with that. In fact, a lot of them, even eating healthy, eating nutritional, certain foods are mood foods that help. But I want to talk about releasing. I'm talking about the natural ways that your body will release stress. You're born with those. You're born with them. Crying, there's more. Screaming is also helpful, especially if you're talking and so on, but you're not, it's not your body's natural way of letting it out. Sleeping also helps. I'm loving that you're saying all of these things. These are really great cues, Miss Liana. Sleeping will definitely help, especially 8-10 hours. Sleeping, in fact, I don't know if you know this fact or not, but it's beautiful. Dewi and I were discussing it the other day. Cleanses your brain from toxins. So you actually wash your brain when you sleep up to 10 hours. That's amazing. But it's not that. So I'm going to tell you, there are 5 ways that your body or your avatar releases stress, and you are born with them. One is crying. That's when it tips over the cup and everything comes out. 2 is laughing. A lot of people crack out laughing like crazy on some silly nothing. And they laugh so much till tears are down in their face. I'm sure that has happened to you once in a while. It's happened to me too. And then you know it's stress because you can't even stop anymore. You just start laughing hysterically. 3 is shaking. Sometimes when we are under a lot of stress, we shake. It depends on what's happening. You start shaking. This can happen momentarily, but it can also happen over days and weeks. I know people who I worked with for weeks, they were shaking. And then they go to doctors and get prescribed medication, and all you have to do is just release. It's a lot of stress. And the other one is yawning. When your body is extremely exhausted and there's a lot of stress coming at you, you'll start yawning. Yawning releases certain chemicals in the body to calm it down and help you cope. That's why when you're sleepy, you yawn. And the last one is sweating. You know, wet hands or armpits when you have to speak in public, for example. Naturally, your body does it. You're not thinking, oh, let me go running, or let me sleep longer, or let me eat healthier. All those other things, yes, they help. But these 5 things naturally happen. And sadly, our society blocks them in many ways, right? You wear deo if you sweat. If you're a man, don't cry, you're a sissy. If you're a girl, you're a crybaby. Our societies in general don't support these kind of releases. Fair enough, you know that now. Do understand that this is how you release. Crying is one of the best one of them. So to answer that question I had in the break, what do I do when I can't fix it and I have to leave it? Like I said, step number 1, when your brain goes at you, you say, I don't want that thought anymore, it doesn't suit me, I've moved on, that's the past. I'm not thinking that anymore. I have moved on. That's the past. And the second thing is, you really have to have a good cry about it if it's something really bothering you. Because your brain keeps bringing it up and up and up and up again because you never let it cry. You never let yourself cry. Crying is so healthy. Crying is so beautiful. Crying is the best way that you can move forward. You carry the weight of the world on your back from your childhood, your current life, your future that's coming at you, and you never ever release. You never ever release. You have to release. And if you don't like crying, that's fine. Watch a funny movie and crack laughing. Like, I don't know, do something to make yourself laugh a lot. But understand that crying is good. And understand that when you start crying, that you shouldn't force yourself to stop crying. Very often, again, I work with people who the minute they cry, they're like, sorry, I shouldn't cry. I'm like, sorry for what? Why are you stopping yourself from crying? If you don't want to do it in front of someone, that's fine. But then close the door and do it yourself. It's like saying, sorry, I'm hungry, I shouldn't eat. Sorry, I'm thirsty, I shouldn't drink. Sorry, I'm tired, I shouldn't sleep. It's something that will help reset you. It's proven that when you cry tears of pain or trauma or stress or worries or missing someone you love or whatever it is, that your entire body's chemistry will change. Within 35 minutes, you're new. It's gone. Yeah? Does that answer the question? Okay, we move on from this one then to the next one. Okay, we move to relationships. Now we get happy again. Now we're at relationships. Okay, so relationships. There's 2 kinds of relationships. There's relationships with someone else when you're a couple and you're in love. And there's a relationship with yourself, right? 2 kinds of relationships. The relationship with yourself is so important. The relationship with your partner is also so important if you do have a partner or if you want to have a partner. This is a pillar that has to be in your agenda if you do want to play the game of life balanced in a way that brings you all the benefits of all of them. It's very easy to succeed at a job and a future and become some CEO of some company, but I'd like to see that his wife is happy. I would like to see that balanced. I would like to see that his kids adore him and they have time with him. I would like to see that he has no high blood pressure and he's not overweight. I would like to see that he does spend time working on himself. I would like to see that he does socialize and he doesn't lack sleep. I would like to see him balance all of that. Now that's the skill. Then you're playing this game. So when it comes to relationships, if you do have a partner or if you don't, there are two categories. If you have a partner, you plan it in your agenda to make sure that there's time for your partner and that you can work with each other and evolve with each other and learn from each other. If you don't have a partner, there's self-love and working on yourself. Why that's so important, guys, and I repeat it again because I kind of said it earlier on. When you were children, you learned to love or hate yourself. It's one or the other. Sadly, most of us got really hurt in that process because our poor parents didn't know what they were doing. They're all victims of victims. We don't blame them. We understand, but we can now break the cycle because we know this knowledge. We have everything we can to change this, right? So it starts with self-love. Why self-love is so important? Because you can set boundaries. You can set boundaries, and what I mean with setting boundaries is you show others how to treat you. You set the standards to how you would like to be treated by other people. By friends, by family, by boyfriends or girlfriends. And you avoid toxic relationships by doing that. Research and my life experience showed me that many people that I worked with end up having relationships that resemble the relationships that they had with their parents. So if I had if I had a parent that was very, let's say, disrespectful, rude, called me names, and explosive, and emotionally imbalanced, and sometimes angry, but of course he loved me so much. It's an example. My dad was never like that. But imagine that that was my dad. I may grow up, chances are, if I don't work on self-love and learn to set boundaries and to say, no, I don't want that, I don't like that, I like that, this suits me, this doesn't suit me. If I don't do that for myself, chances are I will end up repeating that cycle. And I will end up with a man who will do that to me. Why? Because my program as a child is familiar with that kind of behavior. It reminds me that I am loved. My dad used to do it to me. It's an example. That wasn't my dad. He was a very good man. You see what I mean? Because if you don't pay attention to that, and you don't work on that, you're gonna end up in that again because it's familiar to you. You end up with a girlfriend that, just like your mom, had so much emotional turmoil and didn't know what to do with it. And it's on you to resolve it, and she puts you in the turmoil and you have to work on it because you didn't stop. You didn't stop and look at your childhood, and you didn't stop and think, oh yeah, that was my dad's turmoil or that was my mom's. That has nothing to do with me anymore. I'm now a grown-up. I deserve self-love. I love myself. And you do that with affirmations. Affirmations, it's a big word, but I love affirmations and I say it out loud. I want to see it taught in schools, and that is the future. I know that's the future. And we are working for that goal, to see this taught in schools, how to play this game. And in front of those kids in my branches, I always spoke out loud. I'd say something like, I'll have a sip of my tea and I'd be like, ooh, this tea is delicious. I made it myself. And then I see two kids looking at me and I'll say something like, oh, I love myself. I'm so good at making tea. Within an hour or two, they're playing a game and one of them says, I love myself. I'm so good at building blocks. That's how children learn, from how you behave, from the actions and reactions of the people around them. So you learned from the actions and reactions of the people around you. And you can reprogram that. Yes? Okay, moving on to the next pillar. Okay, health and nutrition. Let's talk benefits. What are the benefits of eating healthy? More energy, yes. Living longer, absolutely, absolutely. So many illnesses stem from eating badly, right? Deep fried foods and sugar, they cause diabetes and you name it, heart disease and yes, absolutely, living longer. And sustained energy as well, not just energy boost, but sustained. Like today before I started, well, we came here and we did the setup, and then before I started, I had an avocado, not because I love avocados, but because I know that the energy of an avocado will keep me going for 3 hours straight. Anything else like a bread panini or whatever, that'll only give me a shoot up, and by the time it's halftime, I would have dropped. Energetically, I would not be talking like this right now. So this is so cool when you understand the power of food and what it does to you. One of my favorite things is mood foods. I don't know if you know about mood foods, do you? No? Mood foods are foods that help you feel better when you're depressed or down. I love it, and I used to, and I still experiment with them, but I used to experiment with them at my branches with the kids because they're part of the menus that we serve the children. So mood foods are things like celery sticks. Celery sticks really elevate your mood and really help you stay away from depression. Yogurt puts you in a good mood. Mangoes, if you pay attention, if next time you eat mango, within few minutes you're in a happy mood. Mangoes are like a happy boost. So mood foods are amazing. You can integrate that into your learning pillar too, because then you can learn about foods and you can have nutrition. You can mix that.
Does the workbook have all the lists of all the foods?
It doesn't, but you can email me. I'll send you the list. Email me and I'll send you the list. It's a good question. I should put it, we shall add it. Yeah, we'll add it to the booklet. There are foods that heal and there are foods that harm. I chose the food topic for a while and put it in my learning pillar. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. I had a lot of time, so I wanted to do that because I was working on myself. And I found this book that I think is insane. It's now in my kitchen and every now and then I look through it. It's really called Foods That Heal and Foods That Harm. And then you open it, you look if you have a headache and it shows you what to eat and what not to eat. If you say I feel like I'm getting a fever, what to eat and what not to eat. Acne skin, what to eat, what not to eat. Energy, what to eat, it's really so cool. And what's amazing is how much your avatar, your body reacts to it. So it's not just about not getting fat or being thin or being healthy. It's a life, it's a way of life. Eating healthy is like a way of life, not a decision. Of course, I still eat candy and chocolates and things like that, but a little bit of everything is okay. Too much of one thing is never. That's gonna go the other way. So what's this next one, guys? Sleep. Benefits of sleep. Can you share with me a few benefits of sleep before you look at the handout? Happiness. Yes, I love that. Happiness is your gift to your family and loved ones. Did you know that? It's the best gift you can ever give the people around you is happiness. And really, the secret to life is happiness. I swear to you it is. It really, really is, because you can do everything 1,000 times easier when you're happy. Of course, there's times when you'll be sad and upset and stressed, but happiness It's the way to go. I was so blessed and lucky because I had 5 aunties and a granny that literally adored me when I was little. And my dad would drop me there with them in that country when I was little during the summer holidays. And they constantly, when they saw me, I toddle in through the door as a little child. That was really honestly why I am who I am today, because if it was for my parents and their upbringing, oh my gosh, bless them, but holy moly, that was terrible. But my aunties and what my grandma did for me is a gift I'll never forget. I would walk through the door, and the minute I walked in, they would all just like smile and drop, and the first thing they said is, "I wish you happiness forever." The one thing they would recite this line, and they constantly would say something about happiness is what I want to gift you. And it was so awesome. It really was. As I grew up and as I dealt with all the abusive moments with my mom and dad and schools and countries that I lived in, and people would talk to me in schools and universities about what I want to become and what I want to do. Do you want to be a teacher? Do you want to be a meteorologist? My dad would push me to be, he wanted me to go into computer science. Can you imagine me behind the computer? Everyone with a good intention wanted me to decide what I want to be when I grow up. The only thing I wanted to be is happy. It was the only thing I wanted. And that's what I did. I am really, truly, utterly happy. There are moments when that gets shaken, but I'm very aware of that, and I immediately tell the person or the incident or the place that I don't like this and it doesn't suit me, and either I step away or they have to find a compromise, because I choose to be happy. It's my gift to everyone around me, and it's the way I want to play Monopoly. I don't want to play Monopoly and fight with every player. You landed on my land, pay this and that. I don't want you to land on my, you pay me that. You need money, I'll lend you money. I need money, you hug me. I want to talk to you. Let's play. Life is a game. Let's play. That's it. I don't choose to be right or wrong. I don't want to be right. I just want to be happy. It's a choice you make, right? Because when you argue with people, and people are always stuck on, well, but she's wrong, and da-da-da. Who cares who's right or wrong? Choose to be happy. If it really, really, really affects you, that person will care enough to have that dialogue I showed you earlier, and then you can come to an understanding. Otherwise, you're gonna leave it, cry about it, affirm, and move on. It's not worth it. Yeah? So more, can you give me a few more benefits of sleep? Yeah. Absolutely, and it's also like plugging a phone, right, to charge it. Because if you don't, like, when you say that, you make me think, if you don't charge your phone fully, it's functioning, but it's not really half as good as it should be. It's just constantly on, close this app, and it's just barely functioning. You need to fully charge. You really need to. And they all feed each other, because if you sleep enough, you're able to focus more. If you focus more, you're able to learn more. If you learn more, you're able to help yourself better. If you help yourself better, you're able to maintain relationships better. If you can maintain relationships better, you can socialize better. If you can socialize better, you can get better jobs. If you can get better jobs, you know what you want. And on and on and on it goes. It just builds on. Yeah. So I'm sorry, can you repeat arguments about moving on with life with joy? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Oh. It's another brilliant question. Thank you so much. You guys are really awesome. So you can call it happiness, you can call it joy, you could call it innocence, right? Children are naturally born like this, laughing and happy until they suddenly, learn things from the external or feel criticized or judged. In general, we are born active, happy, joyful people. The core of humanity, I believe, is love and happiness. We are naturally wanting to come here, learn, experience this experience, grow from it, teach, learn. It's like you buy a ticket and you go to a country and you've never been there, right? You make the choice, I want to go there, I want to experience this, and I want to go back. It's like that. So whatever you call it is fine. Joy or happiness to me are the same thing. But it's not external, it is internal. Therefore, you can't lose it. You cannot lose your happiness. It's not possible because it's internal. You're born with that inner joy. It's like a vehicle. You drive it from the inside out. I choose to accelerate and feel fantastic. I choose to slow down. I choose to stop the vehicle, get out and sit and cry on the sidewalk. And then I choose to get back in my vehicle and go on. It's something internal. You have to ignite your own joy for life. And if you are lacking that joy, if you're lacking that happiness, it's another thing you can jot, in fact, right now on your paper. Why am I not happy? That's what you start with when you get to the pillar of mindfulness the next time when you plan it in your agenda. Set a date for it, Saturday or Sunday at noon. When you get to mindfulness, you ask yourself, why am I not happy? What's missing? What is causing that? Because it is something that's in you. It's not outside, you can't lose it. Happiness is driven from the inside out. It is not something you can acquire from the outside. It's a big mistake people do because they end up in relationships and they count on their partner to make them happy. When their partner may not even have it to give it, right? They may not even have it to give it. It's really sad. Everybody's responsible for their own happiness. It is you that is responsible to find out why you're not happy. It's your responsibility to find out what happened in your childhood, what's hurting you. It's your responsibility to release it, to affirm forward. It's your responsibility to get in that car and drive forward. It's your responsibility to live life. You're here. You're here. Let's do it right. Let's have a good time. Yeah? Okay, work and purpose, and you're all at university, so this is like your pillar, work and purpose. Exciting. How many of you already know in which direction you're going happily? Do you know? You do? Kinda? Good. If you don't know, or if you know, can you again write on this card for me, please? If you don't know which way you're going, can you at least get a feeling to which way is it? What's my purpose? What do I want to do? What's my passion? How can I ignite it? Where can I really be the best version of myself? Where can I be myself and really benefit others around me in this planet? What are my strengths? You have it? Ideally, you will work your way to reach a point where you end up in a job where you can feel, where you can work every day of your life and yet feel like you never worked any day of your life. Where you do something you really, really love and really, really enjoy. and something that you're passionate about that brings the best out of you. I've worked with so many families, really sweet stories, where I've had the dad tell me that he gave up in fact, recently, this one person, the dad gave up playing an instrument and becoming a musician, even though he was so good at it, because he wanted to provide for the family. So he took a job that he thought will sustain and keep them. But now his son is studying to be a musician, so it's really cool. So he's feeling better because he watches his son do it. But this fake sense of security fell apart, and the dad lost his job anyway. So he says his biggest regret in life is not pursuing what he thought he can do, but at least he can see his son do it. Something to keep in mind, because you can say, wow, well, but my passion is really difficult to achieve because it doesn't generate an income that I need right now or so not. That's fine. You can still have a side job, but make sure you pay attention to your passion and you build that up. Make sure you still do something that really belongs to you and sparks your joy and interest. And maybe one day that will make you meet people who do the same and expose you in those areas and help you learn further. And maybe one day it will be something. But at least aim to be in the right field if you can. Yeah? Happiness is living in service to others and doing something that you feel that is really helping others or the planet, whether it's joy of music or whether it's being a pharmacist or whether it's being whatever, a mediator, whatever it is. If it sparks joy in you, make sure it's on the horizon. You see it, you do things that you associate with it, maybe get a job in that field if you can, maybe work towards it. And again, the tips are all in the booklet. So when a pillar is missing, this one is a good one. What do you do if a pillar is missing in your life? Can you write down on your paper, please, which pillars are missing? Where are you spending most of your time? And which pillars are really weak? Maybe you rarely exercise. Maybe you've never spent time on yourself. Maybe you don't sleep enough. Maybe you never socialize. Socializing doesn't mean just going out with friends, guys. Just know that. It also means anything. You can make a Skype. You can make a call on FaceTime with your auntie or your best friend. You talk to the neighbors. You can go for a walk with your pet. Socializing comes in many forms, but you'll see that again in the booklet. So I'm not touching base on those details because of time. Otherwise, we need to be here for 5 days. Yes? How many of you are missing a complete pillar? Okay, how many are missing 2 complete pillars? Okay, you guys are in the right place at the right time. Okay, how many of you are missing more than 2? Yeah, okay. So you see, this is really good to integrate it into your life now. Welcome to the game of life. Welcome to the new game of Monopoly. Now you know the rules and how it's played. It's time to start practicing. So I'll give you an example of what I do, and you can do that yourself as well, and it's really easy to apply. Digital agenda or normal agenda. If you have a paper one, then highlighters, and if it's a digital one, then just in color. I color code them exactly as you see, but you can color code them any color that you want, right? And I make sure that I look at my agenda regularly. Lately not at all, because I've been really tired, but that'll pass, like I said, because I do have something to lean on. I do have something to lean on, so I come back to that structure, so you always have a base. You always have a base. You never just flow in the wind left and right. My ship, my captain, it knows the destination. Sometimes I'm not sailing because I'm too tired or whatever. That's fine, but I have a destination. So make sure that your agenda, preferably every week, has a little bit of the pillars. Preferably. Naturally, if you are someone with a job and school, you're hitting the education and the job pillar, right? Add service to others, maybe do something with a community center or do something that you like. And if you are eating healthy, then you add it to that pillar. And if you, happen to it? And if you, socializing, I think you do it naturally, right? You're always around people anyway if you are at university. So again, you can consider that as socializing. But the ones that often get forgotten are among the most important ones. They're all important, but mindfulness, time for yourself, relationships and self-love, enough sleep, and how you sleep. I don't know about the quality of your sleep. You have to ask yourself too, how did I sleep when I was little? Was I forced to sleep alone? Did I cry myself to sleep? As parents do a lot for children, calling it sleep weaning. I'm very against sleep weaning. As you can see, all animals, all living mammals sleep with their babies, and we go and put the child in another room, in a crib, shut the door, and in the dark till they cry themselves to sleep. They cry until they fall asleep. They fall asleep knowing that no matter how hard they scream and cry, no one is coming for them. No one is going to help them out. That's how they fall asleep. And so it's good to look back at your childhood and think, how do I sleep? What's the quality of my sleep? Do I struggle from sleep because of my childhood? Let's look at that and let's think about it in mindfulness, and let's Google on internet what I can do to deal with that if it is. Also pay attention. One thing I paid attention to, and it makes a lot of difference for me, is those little flashing lights from alarms or TVs. They need to be off. And if you're sleeping next to an electricity socket, apparently kids in my childcare really suffer from that. So we don't ever have kids sleep near electricity sockets. Gives kids headaches, it gives me a headache. So pay attention to that. Switch off your phone or put it away. Do not sleep with the phone next to your head, please. Okay, so you color code them, you put them in your agenda, you have them in your agenda, you look every week and you see rainbow colors. When you see a color is missing, pay attention to it and bring it back. What do you do when a pillar is missing, a specific pillar? And I'll ask you that as an example, because there's one pillar here that goes missing. Can I see the diagram? Just the diagram. Look, what if the pillar of, that wouldn't apply to you guys. Okay, let's say I'm going to choose a pillar that's missing, yes? Let's say relationship is missing from somebody. One of you had a breakup and you've been, say I had a breakup and I'm really used to being with this man and I had so much comfort together with him, and now I feel less confident and I'm lonely and I'm sad and I'm scared and I'm used to being together and now I'm alone. What can I do to fix the situation? Can you tell me before I say it? Self-love. I'm going to pump up the self-love, exactly. I'm going to start reading about self-love and how I can help myself. I'm also going to pump up the exercise because that'll really make me feel better. I'm also going to change my food a little bit into mood foods. I'm also going to try to sleep longer. 10 hours would be great so I can handle the stress of it. You see, you pump up other things to support what's missing. In this case, say that you're applying for a job and you can't get the job and you're really upset because there isn't this job and you really need the money to pay rent, but you just can't get a job. So while you're searching for a job, so what do? Do you just sit and dwell that you can't get the job you want? What can you do?
Focus on other stuff in all different ways.
Yeah, like what? Pick a pillar and tell me, what can we do? Learn something new, right? Find something new to learn as a hobby. Socialize. Do more socializing. Talk to your cousin, your brother, go out with your pets, go out for dinners, do something. What else can you do? What other pillar can you use? You're not getting the job, you're worried, you really need income.
You can
You
understand why I'm really bothering you.
Yes, mindfulness, right? Reduces stress, understand why is it bothering you. It's a financial thing. What do I do about it? What else can you do? Learn more new things, explore other areas, right? And when the stress is piling up, how do you reduce stress? Exercise more. Use the opportunity of extra time to work out more. That's not gonna hurt, right? So you see how you can just pump up a few until you get better. If I've had a client who once was in the hospital for very long, and her daughter was in our care. So she wasn't able anymore to go to the gym because she had to stay in the hospital. So the gym is completely now out. She also wasn't able to sleep well because there are a few people in the same area that she was. So that's also out. So then what she did, well, of course she's eating healthy, she's in a hospital, but her relationships with family and friends, I mean, she spent so much time writing them, seeing them, talking to them. That went up. The other thing that she did, mindfulness and meditation, which helps a lot in healing. That went up. And last but not least, she did a lot of internal work about what she wants to learn. And she learned a few new things that she applied in her family when she came home. So you pump up other pillars, right? To help you just cope in colors. Okay, next please. So here, this is the last slide, and then I'm gonna just say a few things, and if you have questions, you can say, we don't need that slide anymore because they have the barcode, so we can go to the happy ending. Yes, thank you, Vincenzo. So, okay, I want to talk about one last thing, and that is attachment styles. Do you know anything about it? Do you know what an attachment style is? Yeah, you do? That's so cool. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, it has to do with how will I put it? It's related to relationships.
Yes.
And it has to do with the way people attract others.
Yes.
So yeah, that's like I think there's something avoidant. There are different types of.
Yes, that's right. Avoidance.
Yeah.
Yes.
So most times you are attracted to people based on things still stemming from your past or your childhood.
Yes.
What you expressed.
Yes. Very, 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 very good. Yes, exactly that. This is really important for you to know, and maybe you can jot it down now as I talk. You're gonna write down which one of the three you are, okay? Because it will help you a lot if you can identify who you are. So we all have different attachment styles towards other people, the way that we attach to others in relationships or friendships, the way that we attach to our children, or the way that we attach to our parents, and so on. There are three kinds of attachments. Three. One is called the avoidant, but that's like the worst one of them. The avoidant. And then there's one that is called the anxious attachment. One step less, it's the word anxious, you know what it stands for. And then the best one of them is the securely attached person.
I think there's actually four. There's also, I think, called dysfunctional one, which is basically the mix of avoidant and anxious one.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like the worst.
Yes, then you add the ultimate. There are many mixes of them. There are a few that are like that. Yes, there are combos, and you can be a little bit of each if you had a really colorful childhood. So yes, you can be. Hello, it's me. Nice to meet you. I got a little bit of each, so it's really great. But yes, the securely attached ones, these are people, so hear me out because you're going to jot down to see if that's you or not. The securely attached person expects love from other people. Or let's say couples, let's talk in relationships, okay? Or family or whatever. You expect love. And you expect being cared for. Because self-love, right? That's, of course, I wouldn't settle for anything less. Feel safe with people around them and in the world in general. You feel safe. You're not always anxious about something. Generally feeling safe. You have, how do you say that? a calmness inside that you can always go to when there's crisis. You don't panic. And you know, there are people who panic and freak out when there's something going on, but you can actually always find calmness inside you. It's just, no matter how bad the situation is, you can still calm yourself down. Yeah? So this stems, the origin of that, if you are that person, you were cared for as a child, you were close to another adult in childhood. And I say adult. That's how amazing this is. I don't say mom or dad or teacher. One adult can change the entire life of a person. The entire life. By having this close relationship or security. It can be a teacher, it can be the neighbor, it can be an auntie, it can be anyone. And that forms that kind of personality that in a relationship feels this way. Yes? Ready for the next one? Okay, next one. Anxious person, anxiously occupied. This is a person who in relationships is clingy sometimes, afraid of being alone. Boy, oh boy. Has a fear of being abandoned or unloved. Okay? And it stems from when you were a child, you received unreliable parenting. You know what that means? Sometimes your parents were there and they loved you, and other times you were on your own. You never knew when it's coming and when it's going. So you're constantly, as a child, in this turmoil of you want to hold on to it while you can because it will be gone. Whether it's from mom or dad or both, it will be gone. You can't keep it. So it keeps you anxious and it makes you clingy. Yeah? Okay, third one, and that's the last one. Avoidant personality. This is someone who shows very little emotion in relationships. Very little emotions. And this is someone who avoids being close in relationships, so they push away. And this is someone who, how do you say it, doesn't want to depend on others. So no matter how caring and loving you are towards them, they still gonna do it themselves. I don't need you, I can do it myself. I don't need anyone, I can just do it by myself. And do you want to know where it comes from? It comes from children who grew up, or that's us, if we grew up in a neglectful, abusive environment, because we had to always have our antennas up because we just didn't know when it's coming and how it's coming. So you have to have like eyes at the back of your head, we say. So a child who basically couldn't relax. You had to stay alert because you don't know when's the next time that mom is gonna have a freak out on you, or you don't know when's the next time that dad is gonna walk in angry, or you don't know when's the next time that the teacher is gonna come and scream at you in front of everybody, or you don't know whatever it is. So these are the basic ones. You can jot a symbol down if you don't want anyone to see it because it's your private thing, or maybe put a code to know which one you think you belong to, or which ones, like you said, because there are mixes. In my case, I'm so extremely lucky because I didn't only grow up with my mom and dad in these countries that we moved to. I was dropped off with these aunties and granny every summer and every holiday. I mean, oh my goodness, the amount of love. They are why I am securely attached as well. They are why I was able to figure all of this out. They are why I have happiness and I'm able to see clearly, and I'm like, hang on a second, this is a game. I can figure it out. Pillars. I can balance this. I can find out who I am, what I want to be, what was wrong, how can I fix it, where to go, who to be with, what suits me, what doesn't suit me, where I want to become, where do I want to see myself, who do I want to help, where do I want to live. I'm here, I'm there, what can I do, when can I do it? And it's constantly changing, right? The basic rule in life is change. Without change, there's no life. So you put those pillars in your agenda, you plan certain times for each. 10 minutes, you can start with 10 minutes for exercise. You can start with 5 minutes for mindfulness. It doesn't matter, you'll find it in the booklet. Start somewhere. And then assign days and pay attention to them. Don't neglect one of them for too long. Please don't, because it's not sustainable. For now, you can be without a few. Eventually, it will bite you and it will pull down the rest, right? You don't sleep enough, you can't focus enough. You can't focus enough, you can't perform well in school. You can't perform well in school, you can't perform well at work. You can't perform anywhere, you can't keep your relationship going. And on and on and on, it pulls. It pulls on you. Yes? Questions before we wrap it up? Yeah? So, yes, everything, I love the questions you guys are asking. Everything you want to change starts with realizing first that there's something that you want to change, right? So it's really, really good. It's like your phone. I realize I don't like this thing, please remove it. Okay, now I can remove it. Otherwise, I'm constantly irritated by Siri and I don't know why I'm irritated because she keeps popping up and telling me, what do you want? And I'm not talking to her. So that's step one. Realize there's something to change. Bye-bye. Step two is find out which attachment style, but you've done that, I think, now or not, more or less, right? Okay, step three, find out how you can work on yourself with the mindfulness pillar to change that. I can't tell you now because every pillar, every one of them is different, but you can find out, you can email me or you can find out on internet. That's again what I'm telling you. The most beautiful thing is your generation can break the cycle. You can go onto the internet and say, I am this attachment style. This is what I suffer with. What can I do? Even better, get into Chat GPT, right? Get all the information listed. What can I do? How can I fix it? And all of them, guys, are very easy to fix. Really, really, really easy. It's all practice. The brain is so easy to work with if you just know it. Now you know it. It looks like a huge thing, but it's not. Trust me. I am all three attachments styles. I can play all of them depending on the situation I'm in. And I worked on all three, and I still am working on all three. The first one is very easy because it's good. The second one I've also almost perfected. The third one, it's on and off. The thing is, it's not that you get it perfectly, and you can, but there'll always be times when you fall off the wagon because you're human. So you need to find tips for it. But you can email me and I send you some tips about it as well. Yeah?